Are we going?
Action. Lights.
Go.
Camera.
All right. We are here at 374 Boylston Street. We made it to Boston. Still got a little bit of color on me from Jamaica, but we're here because this weekend CITIUS Mag is with PUMA for the Boston Marathon. Look at how close we are actually to the finish line. This is like 200 meters to go. This is honestly where over the last couple of years the women's pro race has gotten decided. This is where people etch their names in the history books, but it's time for us to do our preview show. But first we gotta give you a quick look that you can experience in what they're calling the high point here with PUMA all weekend long. Come along, Matt. Actually, very cool. Probably one of the coolest spaces I've ever seen. So right off the bat, look at that. I got high at Boston 2025. Very cool. The messaging behind all this, there's a candy bar in case you got the munchies. Now, Mac, the cool part behind this is that they're showcasing all of their latest footwear innovations. So they've got the one that was announced just a couple days ago, and that is the thing everyone's been talking about is the PUMA Fast R3, which has been proven, I guess at this point through lab testing, to be 3.6, I believe, percent more efficient than the competitor running product that's out there. Everyone obviously knows that back in 2017 when super shoes came onto the scene, 4% was the big number. Now add on an extra 3.7% or 3.6%. It's on these walls somewhere. So like all the stats are right here. 3.15 improved running economy, 93% more energy return. This is the Nitro Lab where there have been people coming in, getting themselves tested. In addition to that, the coolest part is that they've got these iPads set up so that people can insert what their current marathon personal best is, and then from there, do a little bit of math and some numbers crunching as to if you, on the right day, transferred those shoes over to the Fast R3, how much faster you'd be. Bottle service. The retail space. And then, I mean, I don't think I've been in a marathon pop-up with this much space. Lots going on. We're going into the second side of things. We've got the big check for the people who will get $3,000 for being the top Project 3 finisher. There's all these incentives and bonuses around Project 3 where if you lower your personal best by 3 minutes, you'll get $3,000. So a lot of good money on the line. We got Afro Man's Because I Got High playing about maybe every 30 minutes. So I might get sick and tired of it by the end of the weekend, but eventually we make our way over to the CITIUS Mag set. Look at that. I felt like real, like Jeff Probst on the Survivor season finale with just how we just did a live little walkthrough. But hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey man.
Hey Chris.
It's so nice to see you guys.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
We still got a little bit of a tan going from Kingston.
On this, look at me on this. I look.
You're glowing,
Glowing,
positively.
yeah.
But Boston Marathon weekend, Aisha, I think this is, you're telling me your first Boston Marathon weekend?
This is my first Boston Marathon weekend.
All right, so the plane lands miraculously. Let's talk about that for a second first, because we'll get into all of the elite races and we'll break all that stuff down. But we always love a couple laughs here on the show. Eric hasn't heard this yet, but tell us the story of your plane landing.
What's up with planes recently, huh?
Yeah, so
Man.
about the airlines. So last night, let me set the scene. I'm flying in, post-work. I'm in the middle seat, exit row. I'm feeling good about myself, and we're about to land 30 minutes early. You know, it's almost midnight. I'm going to get some sleep. We go to land. Plane changes direction suddenly. We're back in the air. Pilot comes on, tells us too much information. Our landing flaps are malfunctioning. We're going to need to run some tests, and we're just going to circle around a little bit until we can make sure we can land. Girl next to me freaks out. she's got the most responsibility at the exit row.
I was gonna say you're now because it's like now you're an exit road. You're like it's midnight now. I'm gonna actually have to save some lives here.
I said yes.
You gave the verbal
I
yes.
consented.
Yeah.
I got to check the documentation. I got to remember my job of the exit row. We take a whole circle of the Cape. We come back down, and I was pretty nervous for our 15-minute slow approach, but they slammed the plane down. We made it.
Yeah,
We're here.
I think if it's a hard crash, I think it's just everyone man for themselves. But if it is a soft landing into, let's say, a Hudson Bay situation, and where you have to, then you'd be helping everybody. But yeah, well, glad you're here.
Thank you.
Glad you made it.
Waiting for.
Not the way you want to come in,
No. But once you get here, I mean, let's talk about the buzz around the city right now. There's a high.
There is a high. I biked over on a city bike. I felt like we were back at the Paris Olympics, just weaving in and out of traffic. There are so many pedestrians. I've been to Chicago. I've been to New York. This is now my third major, and the buzz here is palpable. Like, the whole city knows it's the marathon, and I can't wait.
Does it make you want to sign up for one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I was being pretty cool for a while. Like, oh, yeah, I'll do a marathon. Now I'm itching.
Yeah. No, Boston's great. Like, Boylston Street is electric right now. Like, so much energy, so much fun. All the colleges get Marathon Monday off. It's a huge event. And it's one of the best, most hyped marathons for a reason. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, when we were in New York, we told the story about like you riding in the lead cart and how you were just like, I'm not doing that after like you saw just like the carnage that unfolded. As a New England guy, were you ever close to thinking about running the Boston Marathon someday?
I wasn't very close to doing any marathon. But if I was going to do a marathon, it would for sure be Boston. And I probably will do Boston one day, just not like, taking it as seriously as I would have one, in my past. But yeah, it is like the marathon. I have, I went to school in Northeastern for 3 years before I went to Oregon. So I have tons of memories watching the Boston Marathon. I saw Ryan Hall when he ran, 204 here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I got a lot of great memories. This is a special one.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about these races because they're coming up in a couple days. We're chatting on Friday. I got wrapped up with the press conference this morning, so got to talk to some of the elites. But coming into this weekend, the Boston Marathon course is super challenging. We'll get into some of the ins and outs of what makes it, so tough. But first things first is that I think most people are checking is the weather, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty dry. The wind keeps kind of changing directions, but what is when you hear dry Boston Marathon like Monday, what are you thinking in terms of just like how that might impact the race?
Well, like
the last couple of years have been a little warm. Last year was warm.
It's interesting because you've got like there've been. Do you remember the year that Des won? And
yeah,
it's the opposite of dry and warm. And it was just carnage out there. So I don't know exactly what the conditions are. It's like 75 and sunny out right now.
Nice.
Really nice.
Maybe not for the marathon. Nice for the spectating.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares, man? It's an absolutely gorgeous day out. They'll figure it out, man. I think it's going to cool off a bit. And so I like, no matter what like the conditions are, I imagine everyone's so talented. I think it's going to be a great race on both sides.
Listening to some of the pre-race podcasts and media coming out, people are a lot smarter about training for all predictable conditions.
Yeah.
So I think, gone are the days of any surprises. Like most athletes are prepared for any condition, which makes it pretty interesting. Like, let's throw everything at them and see what they can do.
Yeah, to your point, Clayton Young has not stopped spending time in the sauna since the Paris Olympics. Like, it is a regular part of. He's in the sauna 6 days a week.
That's too much sauna. I'll say that right now, 100%.
Why do you think so?
You can't do sauna 6 days a week. But this is what I'm doing right now. I'm building up the anti-Clayton hype so that he eventually will probably win this Boston Marathon.
Yeah, he knows of the Eric Jenkins jinx.
He knows if I talk enough shit, he'll do fantastic. So I just have to keep that going. He's destined for a big one.
Yeah. Should we
it's too
dive
much
into the races?
Yes.
All right, let's do. Should we go men's or women's first? Let's do ladies first.
Do it.
The interesting part about how the Boston Marathon and even just sort of these major marathons over the last couple of years have unfolded is that, it's not, unless you're going to London, it's not like a 2:16, 2:14 race or from the get-go. Like those flat races like a Chicago and London, like they take care of themselves. But it's the New Yorks and Chicagos are essentially like a jog fest for the first like 16 miles. And then eventually someone tries to make a move and it splinters the pack to about like 6 or 8 different people. But then from there, like people still bide their time. And eventually it's like Hellen Obiri who benefits out of all of this and ends up, being super successful in a non-pace championship style race. So it's up to everyone else, I think, at this point to try and figure out a race plan because Hellen's buried in 11th on the start list.
It's amazing that Hellen is that deep down as far as times go when she's just such a heavy favorite, and it's like, it's hard because she's the two-time. Is she
two-time?
She's two-time defending.
She's
going for 3. I think it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat her. I see her getting that third title. She's just so dominant, so good in all these races. I think they would need to make it an incredibly hard race. Boston is very hilly at bad parts of the race. There's Heartbreak Hill is one of the most famous hills in the world for on this course, and I think it comes at mile
21,
20 or 21. Yeah, like when you're hurting the most. So I think they're going to need to really like work to throw Hellen off her game, but I do think it's going to be tough.
I think there's someone in the field that can do it, and I think it's Sharon Lokedi.
Yeah.
Sharon Lokedi's coming off an incredible win at the New York City Marathon, has been training in flag, has been second to Hellen a few times, has barely ever finishes off the podium at a marathon major. And we saw her get 4th at the Paris Olympics in that 4th spot behind Hellen, behind Hellen winning medal. And I think she's very hungry, and I think she's proven that she's ready to. I mean, time is irrelevant, but she's clearly ready to turn over faster miles. She's ready for the challenge, and Hellen is a household name, and Sharon is not, and she's just one place away.
Yeah.
And I think this could be a huge breakthrough performance for Sharon.
I love it that the two of them, in a sense, have a rivalry that's the friendliest rivalry in the history of sports, probably, because, they've gone at it in Boston. They did it again in Paris, and now we get another rematch. They've done it in New York, and now you get a rematch here in Boston once again. And so, I love that they have history. I wish that they would go at it, I think, just sort of back and forth. But it was funny because...
You're trying to Josh Kerr-Jakob their relationship.
Why not?
Yeah, you're like... Talk a little shit.
Yeah. It was funny, though, because in the pre-race press conference that I attended and I spoke to Sharon, I did ask her sort of like, you've, run this race, last year. You learned from it. She was actually, I watched it for the first time in like 10 months or since the race, like for the first time this week. And I was like, wow. And so she went back and reviewed the tape and I was like, what would you have done differently? She goes, at 41K, like, I guess... Is that Com Ave right before you make this turn?
I think so.
There's like a little bit of a downhill before you come back up. And she was like, that's where I kind of like mentally gave up. I was like, I don't want to do that. And then like you have to re-engage mentally going down Boylston Street. But at that point you're in a sprint finish with Hellen Obiri. Like you can't mentally let up at that point. She's like, that's what I would have done differently. It's like I wouldn't have just like given up. At 41K of a 42-kilometer race.
It's generally the worst time to give up in a race.
Yeah. You're almost there.
Yeah.
But she was like, that's what I have been working on, is just sort of like staying engaged at that point. And also she's like, and I'm still doing like a lot of speed work. She told me she broke 30 for a 200 in practice the other day. She's running quarters on the track, and like the speed is there that she's like, maybe I should go back to the 10K. So that is all positive signs from Sharon Lokedi that like I'm feeling good about her. At the same time, like I also feel really good about Hellen. I spoke with Dathan about just how training's been going for Hellen. He says she's better than ever. And that's maybe like if we wanted to really like ESPNify and first take like how we look at the Hellen Obiri storyline is like the question would be, similar to like a LeBron James, how long is that sustainable? How long can they stay on top? And with Hellen, it's like, how long can Hellen stay on top? And super shoes have kind of just like thrown that by the wayside. That Hellen is going to be a force for quite a while, even beyond this. Training's been going well. She went to Kenya, did the training block out there, avoided the Boulder winter, and he would get the videos and reports of like how things were going, and everything's clicking. And so like if Hellen Obiri's in the best marathon shape of her life, then that's scary.
Terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not forget, Hellen Obiri's only 35.
Yeah.
Which is shocking because she's been so good and so dominant for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, truly, when was her first medal at a World Championships? Probably close
2011, 2012. Oh, she was 2012 Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, she's just such a dominant player and such a dominant player for so long. But 35 is young for the marathon.
Yeah.
Look at Edna Kiplagat,
who's also
was on the
in
podium
it.
last year at age 41.
Yeah.
Who's also in it. So we have a long time to celebrate Hellen. And I love that she's arrived at this level on the marathon stage because it doesn't always translate, right?
Yeah.
Like you can be a track absolute champion, winning Olympic medals, and it's not always a perfect transition to the road. It's almost a different sport. But to see her step into this light in such a dominant fashion is really fun and exciting for all the people that have been fans of hers forever.
I like the fact that like she's 11th on the start list when it comes to just like personal bests, and that there's all these other athletes ahead of her. Amane Beriso is the fastest woman on paper with a 2:14.58 personal best, but Beriso was beat at the Paris Olympics by like Hellen Obiri. Hellen Obiri was at the Olympics running against people with 2:11 personal bests, like, and 2:13 personal bests, and she's right there or beating them. So it's like she's not a 2:21 woman. And you could say the same for Sharon Lokedi as well, who's like they are in deep in the New York-Boston cycle because
for sure they're racing.
Yeah.
They're racers. They race the big time races. They're not necessarily going over to run these fast time trial type Valencias. They show up to the world majors and they compete for the win, right? So it's up to the women who the 2:14, 2:16, like these PRs are incredibly fast. It's up to them to see if they can run the legs off of someone like Hellen Obiri. But like, I just don't, it's because, she's a 2:21 athlete, but obviously you would never say that she's not capable of running faster than those times. So I just think, and you'd need to go from the gun, make it incredibly hard, like work together using some tactics to try and string it out. And this course is very tough. It's not like you can really settle in like a Valencia and make it a time trial and kind of zone out. It's hilly. It's very downhill for a long period of the first half of the race, which is trashes your quads. Mm-hmm. So you go downhill for a long period of time, quads are fried, and then you're got hit with some major hills. So it's very rough on the body. It's just a lot different of a way to run a race than these other courses.
It's Valencia is a beautiful NBA playoff game, and Boston Marathon is backyard like street ball. It's where the dogs are coming to play, right? Like this is not. There are so many.
I'm getting attacked by a pit bull at the free throw line.
Yeah, like you got to be ready.
Is Hellen Obiri.
Yeah. Fresh off altitude in Kenya, hungry.
Good luck.
I think one thing that we've learned kind of in Boston is just like the respect for the course. So whereas you do have, some of these athletes who have run 2:14, 2:16, I think they're a little spooked by the fact it's like this is not a rhythm race where you can get into sort of like that groove. Kipchoge is case in point, like the evidence of it, like master and the greatest marathoner of our lifetime and maybe and ever, but totally flat on this course. And
that's good stuff. That is really good stuff. We got some guy fake farting in the back here.
It's a little good.
It's really good. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a child. That's good.
Totally threw me off.
Yeah. I'm like, somebody was ripping ass back here.
I can't. I'm not above fart jokes. I love them.
Yeah. I'm like, this is good. This is good stuff we got going on over here. Yeah. It's just like... I'm like, yeah, no, you're so tough to rhythm run.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
Like, huh. Okay, well, someone shit their pants.
Oh, man. We made it, what, 10 minutes into the preview?
That was good.
And that kid broke me.
That was good. Yeah. That's Boston for you, man. It's fun.
It's a dog fight out
It's
here.
fun.
All right. I was saying the course preview. Yeah, play the course preview, Mac, because, like...
Yeah. Play it. Roll tape.
All right, so here's the Boston Marathon course. Starts all the way out in Hopkinton, and you're going to make your way through all of these different neighborhoods. And the cool part about the Boston Marathon course is that each one of these different towns has, like, their personality, very different cheer zones all throughout. Halfway point at Wellesley, Screaming Tunnel there. This is where it starts to get really tough, is around 16, Heartbreak Hill, just before 21. Then once you survive the Newton Hills, make it through Boston College, the kids partying their face off. You have kind of still up and down ways to go to get all the way out to Boylston Street, and you got the iconic right on Hereford, left on Boylston, and then you make your way all the way down toward Copley Plaza, and you hit the finish line. But the thing is, and like I was saying, is just that you're never in a groove like on this course, and so some of those flat runners with really shiny personal bests, like, they can't do that here, and so that's why they let it go slow. And as soon as it starts to go slow, like, you're just playing it, giving it to Hellen Obiri.
I think it's tough. It's because you're right. It's tough when you are the people with the really fast PRs, and you've got an athlete like Hellen Obiri on you, because it's like, okay, you're probably not going to outrun her on a course like this, and so then you just let it go slow for too long, and by that point, the damage is done, and you're not going to be able to break her at that point. So you're right, like, you just can't get into a rhythm. It's pretty up and down the whole way, which makes it very tough, and it's going to be really tough to break the likes of Hellen and Sharon.
Can we throw in our awards for the dark horse?
Yeah, hit me with some dark horses before. Like, I think we'll hit the top American shortly, but yeah.
I just want to talk about Emma Bates.
Yeah.
So your dark horse is
My
Emma
dark horse
Bates.
is Emma Bates.
Yeah.
If we can go back to the list of
To win the 2025
racers
Boston
to win
Marathon?
the 2025 Boston Marathon, I think this could get really interesting, and I think that we will see an American on the podium.
Wow. And specifically Emma Bates.
I specifically am going to shout it out for Emma Bates. There are many women that it could be, but I am really, really excited to see an Emma Bates who has had consistent training since tearing her plantar before the 2024 Olympic trials. I've seen her running in Boulder. I watched the workout Wednesday, and I'm really, really excited to see what a strong, confident, happy, calm, fit Emma Bates can bring to the table on Monday.
The part with Emma that is, like, kind of over the last 2 years, the last 2 times she showed up to Boston, she and I have had, like, this back and forth in the pre-race interview where I'm like, what does the data say with Joe's, lactate testing? And she's always been like, it's pointed towards 219, 218 fitness. Same thing in Chicago, right? Like, there's just big talk about, like, the fitness. And then it's just like the race doesn't play out in that way because, everyone else around says it's going to be a slow day. And so you don't get to get that flashy PR on paper. But today I was like, I'm not going to ask you what the data is saying because, like, we fall into that trap and, like, maybe you catch a little flack afterwards when, like, the race isn't that fast, and the people in the comment section are just like, well, you said you were going to run 218, why didn't you do it? It's like, that's not how racing works. And so I was like, so don't tell me what the data says. She did end up saying what the data says. She says that the data says she's, in 218 fitness, and that on the right day, on the flat, perfect course, that's what she could run, right? It's not going to be that case. She thinks that 221 in the past has been good enough to win this race. And, like, that's what Hellen's run to win this race. Can Emma Bates run 221 right now? I think so. I like the fact that she says, I think that I'm in 218 shape. Like, no one really has the balls to kind of call their shot. It's like people like to kind of play it like
conservative and say like, I'm, we'll go out there and race. I'm not entirely sure what my finish is. It's good build up. You say all the right things, but you never really say exactly what you want to do. I enjoy seeing that. I think it's awesome that she says I'm in 218 shape and kind of calls her shot. 221 on this course is very hard.
Yeah.
She's
run 222 though.
You're right. She's run fast before. It's like 221 here. Is that 218 on a flat course? Yeah, probably. If you can go out, if you're in shape to run 28 or 221 in Boston, you're incredible. You're right up there.
Yeah.
And it's all about how the race plays out. Are you going to go is it going to be hard moves throughout? Is it going to be, people going out and fading, people making strong moves towards the latter half of the race? It's all about, I guess, running your race and, not getting, too excited early if they go out too fast and kind of being in, doing the right thing for you.
The cool part is that twice now in running this race, Emma Bates has found herself at the front leading, and maybe the first time around you're having a little bit of a holy shit moment. The second time around you're how did this happen again? And the third time if it happens, it's oh no, she's I've been here, I know how this is gonna go from here on out. And so all these little things definitely are pluses in Emma's corner that I'm in agreement with you that I think we could see something special. And the best part is that she does have a tight pack of other strong American women to push her too. If you look, Keira D'Amato is the fastest one on paper, the former American record holder at 219. The only thing is that there's a bit more question marks around her, right? Because she, had to drop out of the Chicago Marathon with essentially a broken foot. And Sarah Hall just turned 42, I think it is. But, in my conversation with her today, she was telling me that the, 15 to 16 mile tempo runs that she does or tempo threshold runs are better right now than they were when she ran that time. And so does that mean she's going to run 220 in Boston? Probably not. But, the fitness is there. And then I think on this list, too, a Sarah Vaughn, 223, she was the top American in New York. You have to kind of understand that she probably took a lot of confidence from that performance too, to know I could run with the best Americans. And in this one, it just so happens that we have a very deep American field. Jess McClain is also someone who I think could be fairly well suited for this one. But then, I'm looking at this list and it's Dakotah Popehn is buried in there with just her 224 personal best. But even, I did that podcast with her earlier this week and she said that's not indicative of what I think my fitness is. And so, the Americans are going to be faced with a very interesting decision in the middle of this one where it's all right, if you have an Amane Beriso or a, Bouze Deriba who take off at one point, what do I do? Do I play it a little bit more safe, knowing how tough it gets in the second half of the race? Or do I throw caution to the wind and I'm just hey, got to risk it at some point and just go for it. So
I'd like a mix of both.
Yeah.
I want some to play it safe and try and run the smartest race for them, and then I want to see some Americans throwing caution to the wind and right in the front. I need some. I would absolutely love an American on the podium. We have a real shot at that in the men's. If Emma's as fit as she is, it would be amazing to see Americans on the podium in Boston. It'd be really fun.
I honestly, I disagree in saying that I think the women have a better shot at putting someone on the podium than the men. And both, are just very incredibly deep fields. But
you think the men's field's stronger and harder to put someone on the podium?
I think it's if we're putting Connor Mantz as the top American.
Yeah, dog attack in the back now too.
It's the Pitbull. You were
Pitbull. The Pitbull's back and is pissed at me. He said, "Don't bully my breed." Now I'm actually coming for you.
I think that it is harder for Connor Mantz to break through, to break the top 5 East African guys if they're having their best day than Emma Bates breaking the top 5. I think she's got a better shot.
Yeah, it's
wow.
I
can't believe I held through with that.
Yeah,
thought.
I'm Chris, laugh at the bully my breed joke, please.
But I do think you have a strong point, because if we look at the men's field, the East African field from the men's side versus the East African field from the women's side, we're looking on the women's side at like Valencia runners, London runners, like very fast PRs that are proven to succeed on, you know, nice, smooth, not super hilly courses. On the men's side, the East African field is like, you know, proven heavy hitters at, you know, a Boston and a New York marathon. I think the field, the assembly of the field is slightly different, so I would give the advantage to the American women.
Yeah, agreed. Any other dark horses that we're looking at in this one? I'm looking at, from this list, I mean, Akali Hogger-Thackeray has been running super well. She had a really strong run at the New York City Marathon, so like she could probably also disrupt, you know, the top pack, and she's got a shiny personal best on paper. And then I guess you could just never count out Edna Kiplagat.
The GOAT.
Like,
Yeah.
it is, and here's the cool part too, is thinking about Edna being a super responder to super shoes. I mean, with the latest innovation being the Fast R3 to go even faster and more like greater running economy than ever before, it's like, all right, Edna's running till she's 60.
Yeah, and
Jesus.
is probably still going to be in the top 10 of every
And
major.
still will be top 5 in Boston
Yeah,
at
what are
60.
it's testing like 2.5% better.
3.1, I think, or something. It's anywhere from 3.1 to 3.7.
I'm not familiar with this new technology. With the new, there's now new super shoe technology.
We've gone super.
super, and now do all companies are?
This
does every
is the
shoe
Puma
have
shoe.
these?
This is
it's
the
Puma
No,
shoe.
so this
Puma
is the Puma
shoe.
Fast R Elite 3 that just came out this week.
So
And
you'll look
Oh
at
my goodness.
Edna Kiplagat, Dakotah Popehn, Dakota Lindworm, Sarah Vaughn. I think those are the heavy hitters that'll be in that shoe.
Yeah. All the
On the women's
Puma
side.
pros, from what I've heard so far, are going to go with this new shoe.
Yeah.
All of the people who were accepted and participated in Puma's Project 3, including CITIUS Mag's Karen
Very
Lesowitz
young.
and Rachel D'Adamio, they're also rocking the Fast R3. But the studies are there. Like,
I guess my dark horse will be Karen. I mean, I don't think Edna is really a dark horse. She's
No,
probably just a
she's-
favorite, I guess you could say.
She's a
I
stallion.
think if Karen makes it to the podium, that will be genuinely unbelievable. So that Karen will be my dark horse.
So the cool part about the Fast R3 and just kind of like the buzz around it is that Puma is backing it up with numbers and these studies. There's a study that came out from UMass just like the other day that also just like said like no, like compared to like all the other super shoe competitors out there, like there is an advantage on this one so far in all of the testing. We'll link to the study in the show notes to this episode if people really want to go into the science behind it. But yeah, I mean, we're entering just another level up on things. Karen, it's on our YouTube channel. Karen and Rachel got to go to the lab here in Boston for Puma, and they all tested better in the Fast R3 versus like I think they both went Vaporfly, which
Yeah.
is what they ran their previous PRs in. And so it's kind of very cool for Puma to be like, you know,
Yeah, it's huge.
put your best on the table, we'll put our best, and like we'll see who comes out on top. And so far, it's been leaning Puma.
Yeah, that's really big.
So-
It's really big.
All right, let's transition over to the men's race. Last year, Sisay Lemma was our champion. He has the fastest personal best on paper with a 2:01:48 from the 2023 Valencia Marathon. And then last year, he actually took it out in like, I think it was like 61 for the
Yeah,
first
I
time.
remember you said that like people kind of run Boston, you know, they kind of dawdle and wait for the hills. I remember last year, the guy went out in like 59 and then just kind of held on.
Yeah.
Like, was like, what the heck?
Unreal.
No, yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah.
Faster than what I said. I
Yeah.
said 61. It was 60:19.
Yeah.
That's so fast.
It's
Insane.
stupid on this course.
What was his final time last year?
His final time was
Someone's gotta get this
2:06:17.
I think it's a
And he was
Corby.
like fading hard in like the last couple miles. But it just was enough of a lead that like,
Yeah, he had just such a huge lead and like ran so hard, was so far away from everybody, and just didn't break down that
Yeah.
much. I wonder if he just does the exact same thing.
I don't
come
know if he
Monday.
will because like they asked him on the press conference stage. It's not like he's going to reveal his grand plan there.
He wasn't talking data.
No.
Yeah.
He was just like, I had a couple injuries like in the build up to this. And like after what we
He's
saw
done.
here in Boston.
He's done. He's cooked.
You write him
Chat,
off.
he's cooked.
No, wait. You don't want to say that because then you
Oh,
might
yeah, right,
jinx
yeah.
it. The
You're right.
Jenkins jinx.
Only
I was talking about
Clayton's
Clayton.
cooked.
Yeah. I was
talking about
Only Clayton's
Clayton.
cooked.
But after the Boston performance last year, we were all convinced like this dude's going to win the Olympic gold medal, especially because we knew how hilly it was. He scratches from the Olympics due to injury. Tamarat Tola takes his place and ends up winning gold. So like cool story there that like, you know, the teammates still got it done and brought home the gold. So then he has to go to Valencia in December once he got healthy and wanted to run a marathon. So he goes to Valencia and he ends up, I think it was like 10th in like 2:06. So like Sisay Lemma, is he back fully? These are the same questions we were asking ourselves last year with Evans Chebet, and Evans Chebet still finished third. So Sisay Lemma is going to be a guy that people watch. Is he going to try and employ the same thing? I wouldn't do it. But he might be crazy enough to think that that's the way to win the Boston Marathon. It worked once.
Has he raced again since Boston? What was it? What
He
was
did
his last
Valencia.
one?
He did
Valencia.
Valencia,
He
yeah.
was like 6th or somewhere between 6th and 10th.
Okay.
But then that's it.
With that data point alone, I'm going to probably count him out gently.
Yeah.
Just because, as we've talked about, Valencia is a very like gentle runway to run extremely fast. And if you're not ready to run super fast at Valencia, you're probably not ready to run and win the Boston Marathon.
Maybe. Yeah. I also come back to the point that it's like last year he was able to do this and he got away from guys who were charging behind him. It was Mohamed Essa, who's not in this race. I believe he'll probably be running London, and Evans Chebet. Now we have to talk about Evans Chebet because he's a 2-time champion here. And last year we had health concerns around him because he pulled out at the New York City Marathon. And so to your point, Aisha, of just like the what have you done for me lately? Like for him, it was like, oh, he's scratched from the New York City Marathon. That's a big question mark on his resume. So then he takes the stage today at the press conference and they ask him like, how are you feeling? And he was like, the body feels good. I'm ready to go. And then like I watched Connor Mantz's reaction to that, and like Connor just kind of just like had like a stare, like a cold stare of just like, oh man, like that is bad news for me. Because if Evans Chebet is anywhere near sort of the 2023 form, then he's like the best marathoner in the world. And I think that dude is hungry to really just mess up this field. And I asked him straight up, like, if Sisay Lemma does the same thing, would you go with him? He goes, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I think definitely like athletes like that will learn from you know Sisay's move last year and for sure go with him. It'll be very interesting to see if a guy like Connor Mantz goes with him. I mean, Connor's now like at the point where he's like trying to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
So I think he would go with those aggressive moves early on in the race, which I'd like to see. Like obviously, sometimes it's going to blow up in your face and you're just going to die, but it's the right thing to do if you want to be the best in the world. And I think it's fun to watch athletes just be completely brave and just lay it on the line. And then I really do think like it's so fun to watch now. Like Connor is kind of like had such a breakthrough. Like it's like he's a 2:07:45 guy, but like with how he's performed recently, he broke the American record in the half. He's on fire. Like it really does feel like he's just got full head of steam, like tons of confidence, tons of momentum. So it's fun. It's fun. It'd be really great to see an American like place themselves into the contention of being like world's best marathoner.
Yeah.
And I think what Connor's done in a really impressive way is ramp himself into that position, right? Like he has now a handful of really incredible performances to sort of bank on and to ground him in the fact that, look, I've proven myself to be the best of the U.S. I'm ready to step into the best of the field, and I will take a chance. Like
Yeah.
This is a moment where I can take that really brave step to like truly enter the global conversation.
The thing I come back to with just sort of like the hype around Connor, I'm guilty of helping build, I think, a little bit of that hype. I mean, having him on the podcast, putting up a quote graphic that says he has a chance of winning. Like, that's just great for getting people's interest into like the major race. And then when I kind of just like take a step back and I'm like, are we overdoing it here? Like, are we getting too excited over, Conor? Part of me is like, all right, let's leave the American bias at the door. Like, if his PRs would have been, Pat Tiernan or something like that.
Well, Pat Tiernan's faster than him, which just seeing that, I was like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, but it's not in the times or anything like that. It's just sort of like in how he's run some of these races, the Paris Olympics and the New York City Marathon, sticking his nose and covering the big moves. It's like that is what makes him a contender in our eyes. We're not saying he's the favorite, but not at all. But he does have a chance to podium, I think, in this one.
I do too. I think he will podium. I'm going to say it. I think he will get on there somewhere.
This is the best he's ever looked and positioned himself, I think, coming into a World Marathon major in his career. And at, I think, 28? Like, this is the time, I think, for Conor Mantz.
Yeah.
But it's risky, right? Like, he could blow up, and then what happens? We look at the rest of the Americans who are on this list, and, Clayton Young is right there. He's always right there behind Conor Mantz in these races. Is that the case in the workouts? No. Like, we're looking at Clayton Young's YouTube channel, and he's getting his doors blown off by Conor Mantz every single workout. And he admitted to me, that gap is getting bigger and bigger every week. But at the same time, like, workouts are workouts, half marathons are half marathons. And I think that the marathon's a different animal where it's double the distance, and then from there, Clayton Young has the clutch gene. Like, he shows up on race day.
I mean, you of course want to be the person that races way better than you work out. You don't want to be like I just watched Conor's the all access track video where he ran the 8 mile tempo into that 3 mile workout. Loved it. He smashed the workout. Also, his last mile rep, his coach at ISO was like, let's just go out for the first 800. Like, let's just go like 210. And he's like, I don't know. No, I don't like that. He's smashing these workouts. Just getting after it. And yeah, like, Clayton isn't really on that level. If you're watching that video, you go like, oh yeah, like, this guy isn't gonna really compete with him. But that's the race is the race. And you saw Clayton's Olympic trials race, and it was genuinely like one of the most impressive performances. His form was fantastic. Like, he was just floating out there, waving to the crowd, let Conor win the last 100 meters. So you never know like what the type of like fitness and what type of performance they're able to bring to the come race day. But like, yeah, he certainly knows what he's capable of in comparison to Conor, like in the workout days. But it's just whether or not it's all going to line up on the day.
And I find that fascinating. Like, the idea that there are a lot of athletes, and I've trained with athletes, we've all trained with athletes that are like this, that like, you see what they do in practice, and it's a simple math equation that like, I do this in practice, my lactate is this, and I run this pace. This is my result. The athletes that are like, you throw all of this information into a bag, you mix it up, you release it, and it could be like an Olympic gold medal. Like, that kind of unpredictability to me is what makes a sport so amazing and special, because not every person is a perfect recipe. And that's what makes following Clayton as an athlete so exciting, because we don't know, and he doesn't know. And I think that is pure magic.
Yeah. I said that to him in a sense, like, how frustrating is it to have Conor in practice, and that like, you're seeing like your top competitor dusting you, and you're just left to just kind of like infer like, what is this going to mean for race day? And there's only one way to find out, and it's just to race. He struggled. He was so open. His YouTube channel is awesome, where he's so open about like the struggles throughout this whole entire thing. Like, he was down in the dumps after that Atlanta half, and it did not go well for him. Took him a while to kind of regain that confidence. But by the end of like, the penultimate episode, I think there's still one more to come out tomorrow or something like that. But you start to see, okay, like, no, there was still enough time with like a month to go that Clayton is making strides at the right time in the buildup. And so, yeah, but the interesting part is, how is he going to approach race day? If Conor goes with the East Africans when they make these big moves. What does Clayton do? Does he cover that move? Which is, when I asked him this question, he goes, I think I cover the move. Instead of being more cautious about it and be like, you know what, I'm going to sit back and I'll just play, cleanup duty in the second half of the race. Like, I'll just pick up whoever dies off of that hot pace, because there will be people. That's one way to run the Boston Marathon. He's like, that's not the way I'm going to do it. He's like, I want to take a swing.
I like that.
My man.
I mean, we'll see how it works.
Yeah.
Well, because also we don't know that's going to be a fast, we don't know what type
don't.
of race are we going to go. I don't think it's going to be like Sisay Lemma. I don't think it's going to be a almost sub 60 first half. I don't see that playing out. And then the slower it is, the better it is for guys like Connor and Clayton. But I do like being aggressive and not waiting around and because it's like you let these guys go and then you're going to be the one who's responsible for doing a lot of the work. Like, you can't just necessarily there's incredibly talented athletes here. But it's like you can't just wait around hoping that these guys are going to help move you up to pick off these guys. And it's like, some of these guys are going to die off a hot pace, but not really die enough necessarily like where they're guaranteed to come back to you. So there's a lot of like what ifs. There's a lot of things that can happen out there on the course. So much running to do, and but I like hearing that he'd be aggressive if it was a fast pace.
Yeah. Then quick credit to the other Americans in the field in this one. We do have CJ Albertson, who was like the top American here last year. We listed Rory Linkletter under the top North. Americans. Canada is not the 51st state, and I think
not yet.
We're going to leave it at that. From there, we've that Zach Panning, also in this one, the guy who essentially made the Olympic trials race.
Stud.
Yeah.
That race when that race where he just pulled for the entire thing. He was just
no one had bigger balls than him.
He was dragging those things along the whole race. My God, he just ran 4:45 pace from the gun in like the hottest conditions possible. I mean, I remember thinking like, wow, that was couldn't have picked like a harder way to run that race. Heartbreaking to see him just miss out on it, but what like a huge breakthrough performance. So it'd be really fun to see. I mean, talk about a guy. Let's say it goes slow. Like if he just does the exact same thing he did there, latch on to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit on that train.
I think that there's a couple other American guys. Brian Schrader, he is a wild card in a sense. It's like I never know which Brian Schrader is going to show up to the Boston Marathon or like a major marathon. Is it this 2:09 Brian Schrader or one that we've seen kind of in the past where it's sort of like starts off great and then kind of falls apart towards the end. Ryan Ford, I've said it before. I think I said it before in New York. Like, I am high on this guy in terms of just like his potential in the marathon. Right now he's sitting at 2:11, but I bought stock in this guy very early. I think you'll see him finish among, I would say, top 5 Americans on race day. But going back to just sort of like the people who could actually win this thing, if we look at the international entries, we skipped over John Korir, who won the Chicago Marathon last October in 2:02. He was 4th and 5th here in the last couple of years. So this guy has all the makings of like a potential winner here, where it's sort of now he's got the flashy PB. All right. He's been close before, has the experience on the course. And in addition to that, his brother won this race in 2012. So
There's some insider info there.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't be showing up to Thanksgiving unless you've won the Boston Marathon, like at least like in the Korir household.
Brutal household to be in for Thanksgiving.
But then from there, there's some other, really strong contenders. Daniel Matejko, he's got a 2:04 personal best. People would probably know him best as the guy who ran with Kelvin Kiptum in 2023 Chicago Marathon, but then made it to 30K and then faded. And then he dropped out of the race. Like anyone who tried to do that would probably drop out. But finally got 2:04 on the board with a 3rd place finish at the Valencia Marathon last year. Matejko is someone who Kipchoge in the past, because they have the same coach, has said like he's the next big guy. So watch for him. But if I'm gonna go crazy and like pick like who's gonna be, Lisa DeCisa's in this one.
Is he the 2016 silver medalist? Was that in Rio?
In Rio, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, 2016
has
Olympics.
he been racing
no,
a lot?
that was
Like,
Faisa Lalisa. Close enough. But Lalisa DeCisa did breaking too, and he's won the Boston Marathon 2 or 3 times before. He won the year
2 or 3
of the bombings. Yeah.
Wow.
He won the year of the bombings, and then Meb won 14, and I think he won 15. You can't rule that guy out. Although I do think he's kind of maybe on the second half of his career. I'm gonna go crazy and pick the guy from Lesotho. Now everyone's looking at number 11, which is his name is Tebelo Ramako. Oh man, I got it right here. Ramagoana is how you pronounce that.
Ramako.
So in 2014, when Meb won the Boston Marathon, I was in the press room. That morning, I didn't really know how to spell Keflezgi. But by the end of the day, when you're typing out 50 tweets about this guy about to win the Boston Marathon, you get the spelling down by the end of it.
Yeah.
I think by the end of Monday, we might all know how to spell Ramagoana because he might put Lesotho, a country of 2 million people, on the podium of a world major marathon. Now, what makes me say that? He ran 2:06 for the marathon in January in Shanghai or somewhere in China.
Xiamen.
Xiamen, yeah. Before that, last summer, he finished 1 spot ahead of Conor Mantz. So if we're talking about Conor Mantz potentially winning this thing, Tebelo is also someone who should be in that conversation. And then he dropped a 14:01 in the middle of the Olympic marathon for a 5K stretch between, I think it was like 30 to 35K or 35 to 40K. Only, I think it was like one guy ran like 13:56, but then like really died after making that move. And then the other guy was Tamurat Tola, who ends up winning the whole thing. So if you've got the wheels to cover a move like that, then you are a factor in this race. So this Tebelo Ramagoana might make a name for himself. First major marathon for him. Watch out for him. And I just kind of want this to be clipped when he ends up winning the whole damn thing.
That'd be huge for you, yeah. Then you'd have to spell that a lot. You'd get that down.
You got to get it down.
You guys shout would be awesome to see a dude like Pat Tiernan run really well.
Yeah.
NCAA legend, 2:07, 45. That was a huge breakthrough performance for him. It'd be great to see him have a big day and come away with a good race in Boston.
And I think a lot of people sleep on Pat Tiernan. He has some incredible stats to his name. He's been top 10 in the world in the 10K more than once. Almost ran himself onto a top 5 in the Tokyo Olympics and faded in the last 5 meters. He knows how to empty the tank. He's a really great cross-country runner. He has a lot of characteristics that would lend him to be successful on the Boston Marathon course. So I'm really excited to see what he does.
Yeah.
And the new shoes.
And the new shoes. That's right. I think if you're a PUMA athlete, you're a factor at this race.
Yeah. I got to get a pair of these for our race.
Yeah.
I guess we're in New Balance tomorrow, but God, that'd be huge for me. Huge for all of us.
I guess there are podcast listeners listening to this. How are you feeling about your run tomorrow?
Not great, Chris. Not great. Strained my calf a couple days before Jamaica, and I went for a run maybe 4 days ago. Thanks, Aisha. I needed a break. But yeah, no, I've got my work cut out for me tomorrow, and I would love to get through the weekend healthy. That'd be nice.
Can you explain to the listeners what are we doing tomorrow?
We're doing an indoor marathon relay. Ever heard of it? Yeah, it's a new thing they're trying out.
Everyone runs
one
mile.
mile. We got a 12-person team, so everybody runs one leg. Chris has to run 3. Depending on how my first leg goes, you might have to run 4.
What's your strategy going to be? You have 2 miles to tackle.
I have to really be smart this first mile and really feel it out. I can't get out too hot and risk not being able to run at all the second mile. So we'll see. I think I have to be really smart with the warm up. I had to do a very minimal warm up, maybe just a brisk walk and just stretching, just limber up. But yeah, I need a I've never been as unprepared for a race in my life. Never been more nervous. And
Do you still like have a watch? Like where are we on our running journey? Like how much running are we doing right now?
But pre-injury, I was getting out 3 days a week.
Wow.
I was really getting back out there. And I'm not gonna let this like get me too down. I'm just gonna come back, build back stronger from this. But yeah, so I'm very unsure what I could do. I would love if all things are going well. I don't want to necessarily say I am in sub 6 shape, but I'll call my shot.
What's the data showing?
Yeah, the data is not showing sub 6, but the heart is the heart's saying I could do 5:30 maybe. The calves are saying we'll see. But yeah, we've got an indoor marathon relay race tomorrow, 3:30.
Streaming it.
We're streaming it. We're live streaming it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be huge.
She went on the Alley on the Run podcast and says she's spiking up.
You're spiking up.
Yeah, Corey McGee is bringing me some spikes tomorrow.
Is that okay? Hold on. Now this is good, right? Because this is actually really good. Because Chris said, now there's now money on the line with whoever has the fastest mile split and 200. Now we're and 200.
No. So it's two winners. Two people will get $100.
But
So
it could be the same person.
Could be the same person.
Yeah, you can double. Yeah, so I'm just
Can
saying.
we leave Heather McLean out of this?
She's yeah.
First off, it's wild that Heather's even doing it.
Who okayed this?
It's like
Her coach,
okay.
who's also doing the race.
also doing the race. Yeah.
But I don't think. I mean, I don't think Heather's gonna be bringing. She's not like really getting after it.
I think just a 420 for the first one.
Yeah. So I think Aisha's going for she's spiked up. That's a huge advantage, Chris.
But my data is showing that I'm quite slow. I
think you'll be fine.
I think, Eric, we're actually like in pretty similar fitness. Like I think our splits will be most closely similar. Yeah.
You're going for sub 6?
I'm going for sub 6. I did
Right off the bat?
Well, I'm not sure. My problem is I get so excited
know.
and I'm gonna blow it. Like I know I'm gonna blow it.
There's over 2,000 people attending this.
Well,
thing.
yeah, and I'm
What?
gonna get hyped up. I'm doing a full
There's
warm
2,000
up.
people?
I'm doing some strides. The other day, it was my husband's 40th birthday on Tuesday. We ran 40 minutes. I decided I'm gonna just like take a flyer, see how I feel. So I ran an undeterminate distance. It was between 300 and 600 meters around 5:20 pace. This is at altitude. I think I've got something in the legs
When
for
did- wait,
one
when-
good
when did you
mile.
do this?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, you didn't think about like maybe tapering down and not going for a 40-minute run with just a 300 to 600 meter.
I took 2 days off.
Okay.
I jogged today, did my shakeout. I'm feeling good.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Well, are you going for sub 5?
No.
No.
Those
Why
days
not?
are gone. Yeah.
You're fit.
No. I did 5 by 1 minute
5:30?
on, 1 minute off. And I don't think I could do that.
Who is our LVP, least valuable player, going to be? Do we think?
I think it's rough to say. We shouldn't necessarily name an LVP.
Yeah, we should.
So it sounds like something an LVP would say.
Okay, Chris. Jesus, I'm taking shots left and right over here.
We do have someone on the injured reserve, a very important player in Mac Fleet, who is behind the camera right now.
He's a real wild card. Okay, because yes, he may not finish, but he very well could be double dipping for that fastest mile and fastest 200. We don't know, so it will be exciting to see, and we just don't know the other racers' strategies. You know, are we?
Yeah.
Who are we even racing?
We're
I don't know.
Believe in the Run, and you did a little research. They have someone on their team named what?
Widefoot
Jared. Widefoot Jared is on. Is it the Believe in the Run? Those guys are the favorites for sure. I know that technically we are probably on paper the favorites.
But they got a guy named Widefoot.
Widefoot Jared on the anchor leg. I don't know. I do think they'll be tough to take down. But that's what's fun is that these races aren't won on paper. You've got to show up and you've got to run. And Chris, you're going to have to take down Widefoot Jared. And you have your work cut out for you.
Yeah. We'll see how it all goes. All right. I think that does it for, final predictions for the Boston Marathon.
For the marathon.
Men's winner, women's winner, top Americans.
I'm gonna go. I'll go. I think the women is a bit like I think Hellen for the win. Top American Emma Bates. I think for the men, I might go Evans Chebet, Connor Mantz.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to go Sharon Lokedi, Emma Bates. I also love Evans Chebet. And I'll copy you.
Yeah,
Well, men.
I'm like, thank God I got that
How can I
out
root
first.
against that? Yeah, yeah.
The men's side, I feel like we're all making the same picks. I'm going Evans Chebet for the win. I just talked a big game about Tabello Ramagoana.
Yeah.
Ramaguana, yeah.
Just
But-
go with Ramagoana.
You know what? I will. Yeah, why not? I'm going to go Tabello Ramagoana for the win. Sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Clayton Young for top American.
Nice.
Let's
Like
go.
I like that Connor's going to go for it, but I think that Clayton on
Yeah.
cleanup duty is going
I
to
like it.
snatch him.
Yeah. It'd be great to see him
And
do
then
well.
I'll also go a little different on the women's side. I'll go Hellen Obiri for the win, and Dakotah Popehn, top American.
Nice.
We
Love it.
totally skipped over discussing her, but the top American at the Paris Olympics was a little cooked by the time she got to the New York City Marathon, but this is like the longest block she's had to train for a race since the Paris Olympics, so that bodes well in her favor. She also said that she's like the strongest downhill runner, and like I think everyone makes a big deal of how scary like the Newton Hills are and Heartbreak is on the climb, but it's the downhills that really, do an impact on people's quads before all of that. And if Dakotah is that strong, then I think that, like we saw on the personal best, like she's buried down there, but we'll see a really strong showing for her. Also kind of just want to like not go chalk and put a little chip on Emma Bates' shoulder by not like making it unanimous.
Yeah, no, it's good to switch it up.
So those are my picks. So
I like
if
it.
you are watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify, because they do have a comment section there, drop a comment with your predictions on who are your winners on the men's and women's side and the top Americans, and give us some times, because this thing could be wonky. Like it could be a 2:21 race on the women's side, could be a 2:24 race, 2:27, whatever. Could be, yeah. So I'm super excited for Monday, and hopefully we make it there in one piece. Like
We'll see.
all of
And
us.
2 calves intact would be the goal.
would be epic.
Yeah. All right, that does it for the CITIUS Mag Boston Marathon preview. Let's get ready and talk to some strangers in a sec. Like we're gonna take a little break, and then we're opening up the mics to just get to know some of the people participating in Project 3.
This is the talking with strangers is like my favorite
and-
thing.
Yeah, we've got tons of stuff, taking place all throughout the weekend here at the High Point. If you are in Boston, visit us at 374 Boylston Street. You can't miss it. It's 200 meters literally from the Boston Marathon finish line. You could, I think, even sign up to do the actual testing to see how much better the Fast R3 is for you. They have a limited quantity of pairs of the Fast R3 on sale here at the High Point. So get them before they're gone. And then, they've got tons of programming taking place all throughout the weekend. We've got a shakeout run on Sunday morning, but lots of exciting things. We've got tons of
Olipop.
Olipop to drink. Use code CITIUS25 if you are watching from home at drinkolipop.com to have some ready for Monday. It's a 9 a.m. start. It's not too early for an Olipop. And I think, Mac, we're doing the I Love Track and Field hats that are on sale at citiusmag.com. If you click the shop or the merch tab, they're back in stock too. We're going to come out with the track hats soon as well. Like those were a hit. So we got, I think, Mac, did I get all the ads in? Okay, we're good. All right. That does it for the CITIUS Mag preview episode. Many thanks to everyone for tuning in. Oh, we missed one more ad. We also got Swiftwick socks that we're giving away to anyone who stops by the CITIUS Mag pop-up here in the PUMA High Point. We'll be wearing those. We also got hummus, right? We got Little Sesame.
We've also got hummus.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. We got
Look,
little.
come get a pair of shocks. Show us your feet. We got hummus. Come on down.
If you sign up to run a 5K at the link with Little Sesame between now and Earth Day, you'll get free hummus. What else we got? Eric, you want to plug anything?
I don't know. I was gonna do a hummus plug, but I guess you covered it.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you with another episode of Talking to Strangers right after this on the CITIUS Mag podcast feed.
Oh, no chocolates today, Mr. Woods?
No, Ruby. This is all I need. Papa always told me, life is like a box of lollipops. All the flavor and fiber you'll ever need to get far in life. And boy, was he right. I never really had an end goal. Never had a reason to stop either. All I knew was I could run forever with one. Until I ran out.
And then what?
I went home.